Good evening. My name is David Okon. Welcome to my channel. We are talking about capitalism. Capitalism, in its relevance, belongs to the cost of living. The cost of living has taken a pride of place with this video, with this program, because it is actually being talked about. Everyone is talking about the cost of living. It's a terrible thing, but we are surviving, and we intend to continue to survive. This is our world. This is our planet. This is our humanity. We are learners. We are students. We are also experts. We are enterprising. We are everything we want to be. We think, so we are. We learn, so we become. We acquire knowledge, so we attain wisdom and understanding. There is power in knowledge, so if you want to do well in life, learn. This channel is an opportunity to learn. It may not be the best, but it actually informs you that the best thing for you is to be a student and an expert on every topic, as to the extent that you can solve every problem. The root of solution is actually information, identifying the problem, expertise. I mean, you can be an expert in whatever you like, as long as you have the time. I mean, look at the cost of living as an opportunity for you to become an expert on costs. That will actually help you if you want to become a businessman or woman and understand capitalism, be an expert on capitalism. Because capitalism is business. If you are an expert on business, you won't struggle, you won't suffer from the cost of living. It may not be overnight, but the end you can start now. You have all the time in the world. Even if you are actually a pensioner, you have time. That's why you are alive. If you didn't have time, you are going to be dead. What is not to like? What is not to like? So, we talk about different aspects of capitalism. We talk about sustainable capitalism. It's a concept. It's a form of capitalism based on sustainable practices. If you practice sustainable techniques and also you seek to preserve humanity, and not only humanity, you seek to preserve humanity and the planet as well, while reducing something called externalities. If you know what externality is, leave a comment below. What is externality? And bearing is it also bears a resemblance to capitalist capitalist economic policy. So it is actually an economic policy in form and format, in what you do with it is actually you look at it. I mean, it's support sport studies, sport knowledge. Capitalist economy must expand. Expansion is important in this in capitalist. We talk about growth, so expansion is really important. This helps actually the capitalist system to survive, and in surviving, you actually also find new markets to support this expansion. As the economy grows and expands, you find market, because the idea of actually generating growth is to sell, to do business. So market, who is going to buy your product? If you are a business person, if you produce a lot of, say, food product, who is going to be your customer? And how are you going to sell it? How are you going to set up the marketing instruments like infrastructure, storage, logistics, marketing techniques, whatever you call them? Because the market has to be there, and all the infrastructure support this expansion. So capitalist systems are often destructive to the environment as well as to certain individuals without access to proper representation. So you find victims of success in capitalism, including the environment. We deplete our environment. We use them. We use land. We use natural resources. We use human labor. Sometimes we exploit them. When you talk of proper representation, you talk about trade union, for example. We used to be a trade union. Speaking on our behalf, right now, we are supposed to find voices because, the market economic system now is asking you to find your own voice. You are not to speak for yourself, not really wanting somebody else to speak for you. However, sustainability provides quite the opposite. It implies not only a continuation but an replenishing of resources. So we talk about sustainability, we talk about continuity. It should go on and on. It shouldn't really fail. It should succeed. And if you use something, you replace it. So we talk about replenishment, and we talk about sustainability. However, sustainability provide sustainability is often thought of to be related to environmentalism. It features more within the environmental debates and conversations and also practices. And sustainable capitalism applies sustainable principles to economic, governance, and social aspects of capitalism as well. So we talk about social aspect of capitalism in the other videos, which means social intervention. Intervention is normally by the government, by the state, to support social policy. Social policy is actually there to help those who cannot help themselves. That is the government intervening in the economy to help the poor at the expense sometimes of the rich. But now this is changing now. The intervention by the state still continues. That's why, although people say the market capitalism represents freedom, I say, well, freedom from what? We are always free from the state, from those who rule over us. But if we ourselves is the market, is economy, is the ruler, we are the ruler, as marketeers, with big power, with big money and wealth. So we are now the dictators. See, we are now the market economy cannot talk of freedom at all. It talks of freedom if we talk of freedom state and meaning freedom from states, meaning freedom from state intervention, it means actually that the state is not intervening to help the poor. They intervene to help the rich, to take more money from the rich and give it to the from the poor and give it to the rich. Now, when you social capitalism is the opposite, because social capitalism, which is actually state intervention, to take money from the poor and give it to the rich. Now, modern capitalism is found within the new marketized capitalism, is actually a state intervening to take money from the rich and give from the poor and give it to the rich. It's like Robin Hood turned upside down. Robin Hood used to steal money from the rich and give it to the poor. He was called the Prince of Thieves. Now, modern governments steal money from the poor and give it to the rich. It's like like Robin Hood upside down. So that is actually the manner and the demeanor of modern capitalism is seen with the marketized version, as opposed to social or other aspects. But the environmentalists, in my opinion, are actually consistent with marketized capitalism because they work with the super rich to really prevent investment. Because when they talk of sustainability, they don't talk about sustainability in terms of supporting investment for the poor. They talk about sustainability so that the economy doesn't actually produce goods and services or what is needed for the poor. Environmentalists want the poor to be excluded from the economy. The only one, their idea of sustainability is that produce enough for the rich and stop wasting money on people who are actually weak, people who don't deserve even to exist. Because, survival of the fittest, like I talked about it yesterday. There are philosophers and thinkers who propose that, the world is a jungle, especially the environmentalist people. They think the world is a jungle. And also the market is the jungle. So the market, nobody should intervene in the economy. But see, you only intervene to support those who deserve help, like the super rich, because they are the fittest. See, they are doing the humanity a favor by actually allowing them to go wherever they want to go. But like the less, the fewer, the better. But I say the more, the better. I think the world is enough for the poor and the rich. So there's no point preventing the rich from accessing resources. How are they going to live? They're going to die. 90% of people are going to go extinct if you prevent them from accessing natural resources in the name of sustainability. Now, the poor people are actually being told to change their behavior, to consume less. The rich people are actually being told to consume as much as they want. They can actually throw money away. They can throw food away. Nobody says anything to them. They can throw new cars away. They waste as much as they want. They waste wealth as much as they like. Nobody's going to tell them off. They are the few. And as the many who are not even rich, we are not allowed now to eat food or to eat our home. Only use energy. We cannot access energy. We cannot access food. That's the problem with the cost of living. It's created deliberately to make the poor people suffer for being poor. It's like, if you're poor, you are supposed to be punished because of being poor, because of poverty. If you are rich, you are supposed to, you are an only child in the eye of those who rule over the world, or who rule over people in the world. And that is wrong. It should change. It cannot be allowed. So changes to the current economic model would have heavy social, environmental, and economic implications and require the efforts of individuals as well as compliance to local, state, and federal governments. So what are we saying? Compliance. Compliance means there are laws set by the government. And those who the laws are set for should comply. And if you ask me, I think the idea of compliance itself is who complies, who should comply with the law. What is the law? Who is the law set to? To me, the law is a source of oppression. It's not actually. The law does not represent liberty for the rich or the poor. Whoever the law is set for, the law is set to control their lives. They are to be controlled because they cannot control themselves. You see, if you are able to control yourself, the law doesn't apply to you. So implicitly also, in terms of implementation, the rich are actually construed as being superior. They are superhumans. They are above the law. The police do not stop and search them. They're treated respectfully by the police. So the law and compliance are actually for the poor and not the many. And that is a fact. When was the last time a rich person was arrested disrespectfully and treated disrespectfully by the police in this country? None. So the law is actually set by the rich to rule over the poor. Because if you are required to comply, like it says in this material, you have to comply with the local, state, and federal governments. Comply with the laws they have set. Laws are set locally, at state level, and at federal level. Federal is probably found in other countries. Britain, there's no federalism in the UK. So these are actually aspects of government locally and centrally. And they produce laws, in my opinion, under the market capitalism, which is what is now operating. These actually changes, compliance are required from the many and not the few. The few do as they like. They are above the law. It doesn't matter how gross they behave. I mean, how badly they behave. That's not how offensive. It's only once in a while you find that a rich person is actually caught. Especially if they're really, really super rich. Especially if they're in government. In the UK, the royal family are above the law. Because, especially in modern times, probably in history, they could be arrested and maybe some of them could even be hanged. Not anymore. I don't expect to see King Charles in prison anytime soon, or even being arrested by the police. Other members of the royal family might or might not be arrested. If they are arrested, they are treated with kids' gloves, very tenderly, mercifully. I don't expect to see a member of the royal family to go to prison. They are superior. They're perfect in the eye of the law. But are they? Are they rich? You know, people like Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, will he go to prison? Yes, he might. A few MPs have been to prison. But I think if they're in prison, they probably wouldn't be. If you visit them in prison, you wouldn't think they're in prison. I don't. They are kept in normal prison. They're probably kept in luxury hotels. I would be curious to see the prison a rich person stays in, the kind of TV he watches, the food he eats, the way he's treated. Being in prison for a rich person is super rich. Imagine a multi-billionaire, Bill Gates, is caught and thrown into prison. I mean, he's like on holiday. And he'll be so upset for being on holiday against his will. He will be really enjoying. Potentially, if a poor man is imprisoned the way a rich man is imprisoned, he will love the money. He will want to be in prison all the time. So controversy surrounds the concept as it requires an increase in sustainable practices and a marked decrease in current consumptive behavior. Like I said, it says sustainable capitalism says we should consume less. That is what sustainability is. But like I said, consuming less is not a bad thing. But why should the poor people consume as much as they like? And the poor, right now, even the poor are being sent to food banks. When was the last time a rich person went to food bank? Why should poor people go there? What have they done? So the message to the poor people is that, wise up. If you want to get out of prison, the food bank, being sent to beg for food in Britain. Um, being prevented from accessing healthcare, not being able to send your child to school, your child going hungry without food in school because the government says so. See, you can't afford a school uniform. You can't afford food even at home. Your children go without food. And nobody cares about that. If they did, you wouldn't. You would be poor. Wise up. You have to learn how to make money. That is what I say. You have to learn also respect. Do everything to understand what respect means. Respect yourself. Even if you have to go without food, respect yourself. Respect other people. This is a message for the poor, because the poor are the majority. If they start behaving well, it will catch on. They will be, actually, the poor people are going to even liberate rich people. Because rich people are only 10%, to be honest. And if they're behaving badly, and they have a lot of power, that is a disaster. And it's happening now with the modern type of capitalism. For the many, for the few, and not the many. So if somebody asks you to behave well, and actually don't complain if you don't eat food, if you don't access energy, don't answer them. Just, behave yourself. Be an example to your neighbor. And probably your neighbor will also start copying your behavior. Because if you say thank you every day, people will probably be saying thank you if they're around you. If you stop complaining, probably people around you will stop complaining and get on with your life. And learn how to do business. If you're at work, learn how to save your money, how to manage your money. This is the concept of capitalism described in Al Gore and David Blatt's manifesto for the generation investment management, to describe long-term political, economic, and social infrastructure which would mitigate current threats to the planet and society. What kind of threat? Consumption, consumerism. We've talked about that. According to their manifesto, sustainable capitalism would integrate the environmental, social, and governance ESG aspects into risk assessment in an attempt to limit externalities. Leave a comment below and let me know what externalities are. Most of the ideas they list are related to economic changes and social aspects, but strikingly few are explicitly related to any environmental policy change. We're going to stop this video here. Is talking about the material. We are going to talk of capital accumulation in the next video. And when we talk about it, like I said before, we have been talking about the cost of living. We're looking at capitalism. We look at sustainable capitalism, where we are needed to consume less. We need to save natural resources, and we need to look at our lives. We need to change. We need to think. We need to really take time and read. Read as much as you can. If you have to take time to play, go and do party, meet friend, visit friend. That is also a solution. The cost of living, because the cost of living is causing a lot of mental health. Mental health is really not good for anyone. Subscribe to this channel and share and support this channel. If you like, if you don't like, just support it anyway. We are doing our best to improve. The cost of living comes in all shapes and sizes. It involves food bank, fuel vouchers. It involves debt, income issues. Income actually comes from employment, self-employment. Sometimes you get benefit. If you're sick, you get benefit. Even if you are rich, you can still get sickness benefit. So if you're interested, just find out from the government website, find out from other websites like Citizen Advice if you're in the UK, but if you're around the world, look at any charitable charity NGO their website and find out. The British Commonwealth, for example, have a website. You can get grants there to open a small business or set up a charity. Do this kind of thing because these are actually investments and a form of self-employment. If you're running a charity, you're self-employed. If you're the director, if you're the coordinator, you're the manager. Do this thing. Help the communities. The communities also help you use the internet, use online line instrument to raise money. If 10,000 people can raise £2 per month for your charity, by direct debit every month, they pay £2, and you got maybe 100,000 people actually, putting money into your bank account every month, £2. That is actually £400,000 per month, £4 million, over £4 million per annum. That can help a lot of people in Africa. If you are originally from Africa, if you're a black person, if you are white, some white people are also from Africa. Even if you're not from Africa, you're a white person, black or white, it doesn't matter. Help Africans with the cost of living because their government might not be able to help them. Set an NGO in the UK and go to Africa and raise money online. The internet is really effective. If you can find people who trust you, design a project, register it in the UK, in my opinion, and negotiate with African governments and register a project in Africa and help communities in Africa, help the clans. There are something called the clans in villages, and help them. They have lands. Normally, most people in Africa have land. Talk to local leaders and acquire lands, either as a land in Africa, acquire land for agriculture, for growing fruits and vegetables. You can actually export fruit and vegetables from Africa. You can actually farm fish. You can farm wild animals domestically. These are all ideas. These are all organic foods. You can start, if you negotiate with government, even if you're a white person, if you're British, you're American, you're European, you can go to Africa and negotiate with African government and start investing there as an NGO, growing food, building property. And tourists can go from here to your property and they stay there. You set up hotels, restaurants, transport system. As an NGO, you can do that. A social enterprise. You register it in the UK or in Europe as a social enterprise. In the UK, you can register your project with the Company House as a social enterprise, an NGO. You can also register a charity as with the Charities Commissioners. The information is on the government website and on other charities. You can do these kind of things and help people in the UK. It doesn't have to be helping Africa. There are a lot of people in the UK who need help from charities. And I don't know why charities, or if they are actually raising money online, set up. You can actually set up a YouTube account and speak to people the way I'm speaking, or you can actually link up with me, depending on the YouTube rules on my channel. If I can help to promote your NGO, it doesn't matter how small it is. It can grow. NGOs can grow. Charities can grow into big. NGO is actually non-governmental organization. They are big charities, and you can set them up. You can set a small charity also, community-based organization such as now common in Africa. You can actually set your objectives as providing service and on other opportunities in the UK. If you're in the UK or wherever in Europe, can be global. If you're in the UK, you can operate in the UK. You can, depending on your objectives and aims, you can operate in the UK. You can operate around the world, in the globe, in Europe, in Africa, everywhere. and you can expand your project as big and wide as possible. You can be somebody who is now unemployed, who is not working. You can start by maybe visiting the government website if you're in the UK. In your country, the government website will point you to how to register an organization. It will help you also to how to raise funding. You can get as little as 5,000 to start with, and as depending how creative, and you get volunteers, you get people to actually help, and the more money and resources you get, and the more work you do, the more report you write, the more money you will attract people. Even funders will be happy to help you if you show that, you go and actually show, if you're working in Africa or in the UK, how you're actually helping people with money to buy food or vouchers to go and buy food, or you can negotiate with big supermarket to actually provide food into your storage for free. Maybe the food they no longer want to sell, you can go to farmers. Farmers in the UK, as I understand it, they threw away 50% of the food they produce. Now, if you can create charities and actually negotiate with these farmers, instead of throwing food away, they can give it to you. They might not give it to you, but if you can actually talk to the government and actually pay them money, they will be happy to take money of you if you buy their food and give it for free. If they give it for free, well and good. If not, buy it from them, because they might not want you to get it for free, because you will be ruining their market. They don't know how to make money. That's actually the limitation of the market, because people only think about money. They don't really think about people anymore. If you're a customer, if you have money, then you have value. Thank you for watching this video. I will speak to you shortly. Thank you. Bye bye.